Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Winning Mondays. It's Monday, guys. It's Monday. Welcome to Winning Mondays with KW Malaysia. My name is Mariah, and I'm so glad you're all here. Big good morning to everyone on Zoom, and hello to everyone on Facebook and everyone in the office. Okay, so I was thinking this morning, right? We're halfway through the second quarter. I'm wondering how you're all doing with your business and with your sales and getting listings and all of that. I was reminded this morning about our lovely KW culture and our mission. For those who don't know, I feel like this statement never gets old. It's just very inspiring, right? So at KW, we believe for all of you guys, all of the agents, right, all of us to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving. It's something that I think we will all want to aspire to, right? There's so many areas. There's 5 things listed here for us to grow in and to build. But right now, we're going to focus on the building careers part and businesses worth owning. Yeah. So today's session is going to be about a very awesome subject everyone loves to talk about, getting exclusive. Right? We want to have that so that our business is not so frustrating, right? If we put in the effort, we know, and the property sells, we know we're going to get back the commission, and it's not going to just suddenly jump to somebody else. I think that's a very important piece of our business, right? Okay, so I'm just going to come back to you all. So as we get ready for our very special speaker, before we bring him on, I want to run a quick poll to talk about this issue of exclusive and also 3%. So I have 2 questions for you guys. So I'll just read out the question because I think on Facebook you will not see it on the screen, right? So it says, what percentage of your listings are under assigned exclusive authorization to sell, right? So the options are 0 to 25%, 25 to 50%, 50 to 75, or 75 to 100. So is it like 1/4, a half, 3/4, or almost all? You can just say how many percentage of your listings are under signed exclusive ATS. And similarly, how often do you collect 3% full commission? Okay, from the seller. Maybe you still have to split with the co-agent, but how often do you collect that 3%? As opposed to they convince you to go down to 2% or 1% nonsense or whatever. No, yeah, but how often do you collect? Is it 1/4 of the time, half the time, 3/4, or all the time, or nearly all the time? Yeah, I would love to hear from you all on what your experience is right now in your business. And hopefully we will get inspired by our special speaker to have a business that's even more worth owning, right? And we'll be feeling happier, and then we will be able to, have more income to be able to have a life worth living and a legacy worth leaving. So something inspiring this morning to come out of our topic. All right, I'll just leave another few seconds. So if you're on Facebook, right, you could just put in the chat, how many of your listings are under exclusive, and how often do you collect 3% full commission? Okay, I think the answers are really interesting. You guys are gonna like this. Okay, I'm gonna end the poll now. Let's take a look at this. This is more interesting than I expected. Okay, so 50% said exclusive is only the first quarter, like 0 to 25%. So 50% of you said 1/4 of your listings are under exclusive, and then the rest are kind of evenly distributed. 20% are at half, 13% are 3/4, 13% at almost all. Then, how often do you collect 3% full commission? Okay, the biggest answer is actually about 50 to 75% of the time. That's half of you said 3/4 of the time you're collecting 3%. It's cool. And then another 27% said almost all the time you're collecting 3%. And 20% of you, sorry, flow numbers, 20% of you are like the only 1/4, and 7% said 25 to 50%. Okay. Anyway, it's interesting to see that about most of you are collecting 3%, maybe half to 3/4 of the time. But most of you are getting exclusive only 1/4 of the time. Very interesting. We're gonna have a great discussion with our speaker, and maybe I'm gonna ask him about his thoughts on this later. Okay, on that note, I would like to invite Mr. Ganesh, our favorite Our favorite Mr. Ganesh is, are you there, sir? Okay, good, good, good. You are here. Okay. Let's come on board. Come online with us. Hello, hello. You can unmute yourself.
Hi. Yeah.
Yay.
Hi,
Awesome.
Mariah. Hi.
Hello, good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I like your grass is very dewy and fresh this morning behind you.
I love nature.
Yeah, it's so good. That's awesome. Okay, so I want to, okay, before we even get started with the questions, I think not everyone will know who you are, even though you're extremely famous. Can you share with
For
us
right
just,
reasons, I hope. Yeah.
yeah, famous in a good way, I hope. Can you introduce yourself and your background in real estate
Okay.
for
A brief description of myself. I am Ganesh. I'm one of the division directors. I've been in the industry for 32 years.
Wow, not
Good and bad experiences. Half of which I've been in Reapfield, and the other half on my own, and one other agency, which was a valuation company. So,
okay.
yeah. But I was running my own firm in Tamantun for about 14 years.
Okay, you've had a lot of experiences then. And
Yeah.
what's your focus area nowadays? Where are your
Yeah,
listings?
I'm basically, I do mostly residential properties. I do only sales, no more tenancies.
Right.
I'm focused in PJ, where I live, uh, Kamantun, Bangsa, Damansara Heights.
Nice, nice. Okay. So since this topic, right, our topic today is the exclusive advantage, and I think you're a bit famous for this topic, right? So
Yeah,
I have a very big question everyone will want to know. How many of your listings are exclusive listings?
99% of the time it's all exclusive.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's cool.
yeah, I have exceptions, but under very special conditions. Very,
Okay.
yeah, all my listings. At any one time, I'm only having about 4 or 5 listings. I focus.
Interesting, different kind of model. Were were you surprised when you saw the results just now that
No, no,
yeah.
I know most of them don't do it.
Okay, so yeah, most people don't. All right, interesting. So why is getting exclusive listings so important for you that you would even have up to 99% of your listings are like that?
I think it's not only important to me, but it's also important to the vendor, the benefits, the advantages, and this has to be communicated but to the agent. He must see also the importance, not just
Mm.
me. So that is very important. I have various reasons.
Yeah, tell us why is it good for the vendor to have sign you as exclusive?
Uh, Many vendors have this idea that when they have a lot of agents, they will have more exposure. But actually, they don't realize the fact that the more agents you have, there's more undercutting. I mean, really, it's a survival of the fittest. They
Right.
will try to work on behalf of the purchaser and not the owner. They don't realize that. But many owners think if they are, I've seen houses where the house is surrounded by banners and it never got sold. It never
Wow.
got sold because they're waiting for it to fall further. And
Hmm.
then once I had an agent who went and told the owner, uh, if even if you don't, she used this word, even if you don't engage my services, just engage one. And guess what? He took her advice. He took out all the banners. That's what she said. And then for a few weeks, did not do anything. He did not, even the agent who advised did not put the banner there. Then about 1 month later, one banner came.
Oh,
Guess
I
what
see.
happened?
Yeah. What
She closed,
happened?
she closed it within a couple of weeks.
Dang,
Everyone panicked.
That's a good story. So
Yeah.
it's showing that like, because the sentiment of the buyers are like, oh, this thing has been on the market forever. No one wants to buy it. Everyone's
Something
trying
must
to sell
be
it.
wrong. Someone
Right.
died, suicide. What is happening? And then they are thinking, the thing is, they are
Huh.
thinking that the owner is probably so desperate. He has so many banners. And
Wow.
yeah,
So they
so
started fresh. They wiped the slate clean,
yeah,
left it left
for
it
a
blank for a
period,
bit, then
they
only
eat, yeah, they
put it on
eat,
the market.
yeah.
Sorry.
Agents say because it's been so exposed, take it off. And it worked very fast.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Wow. Okay, so you were saying that you have to communicate this to the
The
seller, right? The
owner, the
vendor.
benefit.
So,
But
yeah,
I have various reasons why I need exclusivity. I think it's quite
okay.
common, those who work with me. One, it instills a high level of commitment on the on the agent, because once he's been appointed, he should realize that he's the only one this owner is going to be relying on, and that level of commitment must go up.
Mm, mm,
Yeah.
mm.
And then, of course, two, there's going to be accountability. We have this practice of giving updates, very regular updates, monthly updates on all our marketing activities, all the marketing activities, plus detailed responses, even if they call and later when we tell them the price and the features of the property and they don't want to see it, we insist, we in fact chase after them for why. We want to know why.
You're talking about the buyers?
Yeah, the
Yes,
buyer.
the buyers.
Yeah,
Okay.
even when there's rejection, we want to know why. Is it
Interesting.
the features, the facing, the surroundings? So
Huh.
all that is taken into account, and then at the month end, we give them this report daily, I mean, monthly to this owner, and then a decision has to be made whether there is a need for price review.
Okay.
But the
Okay.
market is responding, and we have shown all in detail all the marketing activities, and this is how the market is feeling about this price. Yeah, so that's another thing, the accountability.
Right.
Yeah, then of course, one of the most important thing is control of the price, because when you have multiple agents, everyone will be competing with one another, really
Right.
competing with one another to undercut each other. The common thing is, or this is what the common scenario. When a buyer realizes there are 4 or 5 agents, he will go to one agent, ask for the best price. Then he will say, okay, let me think about it. I'll check with my bank. Then he goes to the second agent. Then he say, hey, that agent gave me that price. I think you can do better. And this continues. No end to this. Whereas if you have one agent, one voice,
Uh-huh.
that's when you are in control. So
Wow. That
yeah,
makes
so,
sense.
yeah, that makes sense. And then of course, when there's a need for price review, when we do the monthly update, that's when we change the price, not because somebody is trying to undercommit, but because the
Mm,
market is responding.
right. The way you describe it just now, I can really see what you mean, that by having multiple agents, you're literally just giving negotiating power to the buyers.
Yeah, very true.
They're gonna
Very,
work against you.
those are the words, correct words. You are actually giving it away. Of course, many owners have the fear that if they give it to one agent,
Mm,
the agent might just not be effective or not really. Uh,
right.
yeah, so that's the fear. But that's when the agent has to communicate his value proposition and differentiate himself. And that's where the listing presentation comes in.
Nice. And as you mentioned, the commitment, you were saying, if you're gonna
Yeah,
do this, you gotta be committed and
yeah,
you gotta
yeah.
tell your, yeah,
And the vendor must see this, not, some agents, they memorize a script and they go and repeat the words, but the vendor will see through them. Where
yeah,
something because they know they don't really mean it. So, and you got to conduct yourself when you meet with the owner, how you speak to him, and they will pick up how your body language and the choice of words and all that. That's very important.
Wow, amazing. So
Yeah.
you, yeah, is there more? Is there more?
Yes, yes, yes. And of course, with exclusivity, because of the, and also because of the 3%, there's better market exposure because I'm willing to spend more on the marketing. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
We always, very, very important. The many owners say, wow, you're earning so much. They don't realize the marketing cost is so high, and
Mm.
you really need to differentiate your property from the competition, and you really need to spend. And that's the one of the other reasons why we ask for exclusivity and 3%. And then, of course, the other main reason why I asked for exclusivity is the security. The fact that the owner, always we ask for 6 months appointment. We don't
Okay.
want him to pull the property out from us suddenly when he has changed of mind, or some agent comes to him and say, hey, sir, I can do it for you cheaper. Poof, it goes missing. And
Yeah.
yeah. So that security is important. And that's why exclusive is very important to me.
Wow, amazing answer. Okay, I want to just recap. So you were saying at first that it's actually in the interest of the vendor, and
Yeah,
the things that you shared was there's a higher level of commitment from the agent if
yeah,
you have that exclusive. There's also better accountability on sending the monthly reports. I mean, this is clearly you're holding yourself accountable to do that, but
yeah,
I hopefully all
yeah.
agents would do that. And then you have that control on the price. You don't have the situation where other agents are working against the vendor.
Yeah, yeah,
And then they will get better advertising, market exposure because the agent will spend more money. Yeah, that's amazing. So this is something we can educate our sellers on and tell them this is why we want to ask for exclusive. And then for your sake, you get the security knowing that, they're not going to suddenly change on you and you lose out everything. As I was saying, right? Then it's like, then you feel like you want to give up this dumb business, right? You put all this effort and then it's just taken away from you. You're like, oh my goodness, it's
I,
very tough.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's very, very depressing for you to go through all this, all the effort, and
yeah.
suddenly you said, oh, my mother told me not to sell, the price will go up higher.
My mother told me. It's so
Or
good.
my neighbor told me
Yeah,
price will
yeah.
go higher. No, 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 no. You're not going to face that. Yep.
So good, so good. Wow. So have you since you mentioned that most people don't do exclusive, is this something you mentioned you're in the business for 32 years? Have you always felt like exclusive is important, or somewhere along the 32 years you were like the normal ones who don't do exclusive and then you change your mind, or how?
Never, I never changed. I was very lucky when I joined Reapfield at that time. That was a culture with a lot of the agents, a lot of the senior
Okay.
agents. And when I joined, because I was from another profession, when I joined, I had no experience at all in sales or marketing or anything. Uh, uh, I asked for a mentor, and a mentor came in. It's like he was something which every agent should have had an experience with, and I I followed him. I followed him, literally carrying his bags, followed him uh, for all his viewing appointments, closing appointments. I saw the passion he had and how he communicated that to the owners, and always exclusivity and maximum fees.
Mm,
So I was completely taken in by this. And I've never changed that. And especially the fact that when I saw agents doing multiple listings, and the consequences they had to go through when things didn't work out, but the
mm,
agents undercut them. So I didn't want to go through that. And that has reinforced my thinking. Exclusivity is I'm programmed.
You're
basically
programmed.
programmed. It's not natural to take non-exclusive.
Wow, amazing. I'm sorry, I just love this image of like of Mr. Ganesh as the intern carrying the bag, bringing the coffee.
And then at that time, we didn't have any formal training program. I think it was the culture that carried us on. Of course, senior agents took on rookie agents, and we followed them and all that. But very importantly, everyone supported each other. That was the most important
Wow.
thing. And the mentor I had, he had exclusivity and 3%. That was it. And the passion he showed when he went for listing presentations and the closing, oh, no one, I've never seen anyone match that.
Wow, that's very inspiring. So
Yeah,
I can
yeah,
see now why you caught the fire,
yeah, yeah.
basically.
And then I was very lucky to have him. It was
Wow.
just brief, but it was enough for me. And then one of the funny things about it is we didn't have any training manuals, nothing formal. He wrote everything down on his own. So I asked him, can I photostat your copy? He said, okay. It was a little, what do you call, the flow was not there, but all the information there. So I photocopied it and I adapted it to my personality because he had his own personality and I adapted it to my own personality.
Okay.
And that's how I carry.
Wow, these are good tips, guys. These are good tips. I hope you're all catching these good tips from Mr. Ganesha. Okay, so I mean, on that note, since you mentioned your experience when you were a new agent, I want to ask, if I was a new agent who just joined your team, okay, no promises, no promises. And I asked you, Mr. Ganesh, how do I get exclusive listings? How can I get this? How can I be as cool as you? What would you say? What strategies would you advise on me?
Mariah, if you were to ask me that question, I would fall. Yeah,
I know we always joke about this, right? That I'm gonna join
yeah,
the
yeah.
team.
Okay, I think the most important thing, I think you can go for training and all this training. Yeah, it helps a lot. But to relate it to field experiences, you need someone who's passionate. The one first thing you do is to get a mentor. Get a
Okay.
mentor. Um, uh, he should follow, do what I did, follow him on the listing with appointments, closing appointments, watch his mindset, his strategies, see how especially when things go wrong, how he overcomes it, how
Mm,
he overcomes objections. This is so important live instead of just reading about it. And then in my case, I was very lucky. He explained to me why when he took a certain strategy, when he took a certain path, he explained to me why. And I think that experience, there's no substitute for it. Of course,
wow.
causes and all that will help, but he made
Yeah.
me relate it to the field work. That's very important.
Right. I get that. I think no matter how much training you get, like in a classroom, notes and concepts and theory, nothing beats being there in person. Because I guess this business is more about, it's a people business, right? It's how you relate to people, how you express, how you communicate, right? So if you can catch that on how they're negotiating to get exclusive authorization, I
And
mean, it's got to be
understanding
there,
their
right?
strategies, why they are taking that course of action.
Okay, right,
Understand,
right.
yeah, yeah. Okay, number two, for me, which is also very important, understand the sales process from the time of listing right up to the closing until the handing over the keys, and understand all the documents involved, the forms involved, understand the terms and conditions, because you got to communicate this. I've seen agents who do not understand anything, and then when they are questioned, they say, let me get back to you. It doesn't project a good image.
Right.
I'm not boasting, but I think that literally I understand every term and condition of that. And then when these are standard terms and conditions, when there are circumstances when you need to change it, as long as they are within the real estate rules, you must learn how to do it. I know many people will say, oh, you got to have a legal background. No, I think you understand the basic the terms and conditions, and when there are special circumstances which need to be changed, amended to suit the client's interest, the client will be very impressed because, of course, they will take it out to their lawyers to make sure it's enforceable. So
Right,
that's
right.
very, very important. I
Yeah,
understand all the documents involved at various steps of the way. That
amazing. I
yeah.
mean, I would hope so. Since you've been in the business for 32 years, I'm glad to hear you understand everything. All the
I'm
steps.
still learning. I'm still learning. Sometimes when you see your new terms and conditions, I'll say, that it will jolt me. And I'll say, hey, I've been programmed for this. Well, suddenly there's something different. Yeah, but that's part of my programming. No?
I wanna pause here to just say that for everyone listening, this is the guy who runs the session in Ignite, our training program on Get to the Close, where we go through exactly what he's talking about, all the documents, all the legal stuff, all the whatever this is, how to get from the listing all the way to the close. So
I have gone for listing presentations when I did that. And then after that, they agreed for the appointment of the exclusivity. When I was going through it line by line, I think this owner has some legal background. He wasn't listening to me. He was watching me how I actually explain things to me because
okay.
he was wondering whether I really understood what I'm telling them or whether I really believed in it. But you know the difference. Some people just watch how you present it, and that's how much confidence you must have when you're communicating this. Yeah.
Wow, you're speaking to my heart. So we just had Train the Presenter last week, and there's this famous Simon Sinek quote that says, we give presentations every day, whether we're doing it at work, like for a listing presentation for a client, or we're trying to convince our partner to get a kitten. The content of what we say is just as important as how we say it.
Yeah.
Right, so
That's
exactly what you're saying, right? How we communicate, that confidence, all the body language is literally equal as, or if not more important
yes.
than the content of what we're saying.
Correct.
Good.
That's very, very important. And of course, and the third thing is when if a rookie wants to come over and do exclusive, he needs to be a specialist in a location or type of property. That's basic. You can't be all over the place. And that's another advice I would give. Be focused on another
You
area.
focus in an area. Okay, okay.
And then I will build up the network with all the agents who are specializing in that area. It's very important when you are specializing and you have your own clientele. You can't satisfy them with all your own listing. You got to network. That's very, very important.
Amazing. That makes sense. Yeah, so that you
Yeah.
can close the
And
deals. Mhm.
for you to get exclusive, for me, the listing presentation is so very important because that will open the doors. It'll just open the door. The rest is all work on. But the listing presentation is so very important. I've literally seen people who from at the beginning, they never think of exclusiveness, but when they went through that, the listing presentation is you must give that owner the value proposition and
Mhm.
why you are different from all the other agents. I will summarize it, the contents in a point form. That,
Okay, okay. So you're
yeah,
gonna share with us the best, like this kind of what to
yeah,
put in a listing
yeah.
presentation.
What's in the letter? Of course, you start off with a self-introduction of who you are and what company you represent. That's the branding you are going to be putting. And then, of course, the market analysis, or some call it the comparative market analysis. mainly will show all the data of all past transactions of similar properties in that location. Then number two, your competitors with similar features and of that location. And the third one will be bank indicative valuations. This is data,
Okay.
yeah, very, very important for you to use this. Then we will have pre-listing work needed. That means before putting it out in the market, what is the work that is needed, like the repainting, clearing the clutter, uh, doing the garden, making it look neat and all that. Very, very important, because the first impression when the purchaser comes, it's important. Yeah. And then
Yeah, okay.
and then our pricing strategy, why we recommend that price based on the data we have on that. Yeah. And then our marketing plan in detail over timeline and on various channels we are going to use over a 6-month period. And most important of all, regular updates. In the sense that the market is dynamic. You need to keep responding. And that's why we have this a monthly meetings, either physically or Zoom, and
Okay.
where we explain what has happened, all our marketing activities and the response, and whether there's a need to have a review, price review. It's not like I'm going emotional and say, oh, the market is bad. I think, Auntie, you must change. We have to change. We have to keep up with the other competitors. No, the data is there to, it's sometimes there have been cases where the owner himself will bring this up because they realize the response is bad, and yet we are doing all the right things, all the
Right.
marketing activity, and yet the market is, so they themselves will come up whether there's a need to a review.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Thank you so much. This is amazing. So, guys, are you hearing this? He just gave you like a step by step everything you need in your listing presentation. And for those of you who don't know, we literally have a free listing presentation template that basically kind of follows this lah. I mean, I think he made it more simple lah, but you can find it on under Ignite, under the Ignite resources in the Google Drive. Anyway, you can contact me if you want to find more about that. But yeah, I just want to recap. You shared so many amazing things, Ganesh. Okay, hold on. Just now I asked you, what would you advise to someone who says, I want to learn how to get exclusive? What do you say? So first you said, get a mentor, right? Get a mentor of someone who's already doing it and see how do they do it? How are they, and what strategies did they use, when things go wrong, and how
yeah.
do they, probably, how do you answer those, when the vendor doesn't agree, right? The vendor gives you whatever excuse about his mom or whatever, saying she want many agents.
Um, I won't say I have 100% success rate in getting exclusive.
Okay.
Everybody has your own opinions and all that, but there have been quite a number of times when they reject us first time, they call us back after 2 months. I
Really?
don't push it.
Okay.
I don't push it because, but we keep track of that listing, and then we call them back and say if there's anything we can help with, and that's
Wow.
yeah,
That's amazing. So
yeah,
meaning they thought they could do it their way, but then they discovered it's not really working as they expected, and they come back to you because they
yeah,
saw that you have something different, some
yeah.
kind of value to offer. Cool.
And I've had that experience. It was really tough in that location, and we couldn't complete it after 6 months. And they were going to move out. They just, you know what they did?
Mhm.
They found us so good to work with, even though we were not successful. They extended it to another 6 months, and we closed it.
Oh, it's so good. I like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
story.
yeah, because we were regularly updating them on the progress of our marketing activity. It's
Right.
always connecting with them, always keeping them up to date. They
Huh.
don't call us and say, "What's happening? I haven't heard from you." We never have.
Yeah, I see that doesn't happen because of that accountability that you put forth literally in the listing presentation. I'm going to contact you monthly with the updates.
Yeah,
So you put that expectation there. That's
yeah,
very cool.
yeah.
Um, can I mean, what not I mean I didn't ask you this question earlier to prepare you, but what do you say when if the vendor says like, yeah, but my mom, she told me I must get at least five agents to represent my property. So sorry, I cannot give you exclusive.
Yeah, yeah. Especially when someone like his family member were to advise him against it. I'm not going to, I don't do hard selling,
Okay,
really. Yeah. But I will tell him we will keep in touch.
nice.
Yeah. That's basically my answer. I won't push it.
Wow, interesting. And then you mentioned how sometimes they will come back to you. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't push it. I don't like hard selling. And
Okay,
I think I've done as much as possible to give you the reasons why I need to be appointed,
right.
and you are not convinced, and if your family member says, I'm not going to fight that.
Okay, cool. I appreciate that. Okay, sorry. So you said get a mentor, you said learn and understand the sales process, all the documents, make sure you so that you sound like you know what you're doing, right? So
Yeah,
that you can get that you look professional, right? That they would want to hire you.
very important how you
Right,
conduct yourself and
right.
understand the sale process.
And then you mentioned specializing in one location or area and
Yep,
then networking with all the other agents in there to have that kind of co-agency trust
yep,
situation going on. And then having a real kick-ass listing presentation, basically.
yeah, very, very important. And
Cool.
yeah,
Love it. Okay, how about commission? So that was the other question we asked, right, in the poll. How important is it to you to secure the full 3% commission?
yeah. Many people think that we want the full commission to ourselves. Actually, it's that's not true. Most of the time, the reason there are two reasons actually. Basically, one, we want the higher commission because we can then do a very intense marketing uh, campaign. Really, we go all out to do that, and to do that, we need money. And if
Right.
you know that that money will be coming if you're successful, I am willing to pour in all the money into marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And the number two, the strategy is I can't get all the leads by myself through all, or even from my database and all that. And guess what? Who got the other leads? It's the other agents who are working in that area.
Right, right.
And I also allocate a certain sum of money for the co-agency. So I open it up. And that's why most of the time we get our property sold within 3 to 6 months, even
Yeah,
in the
I
market,
see.
because it's exposed.
Okay. Right.
So
So you want that 3% so that you can market the property with a higher budget
yeah,
and so that you have something to share with the co-agent lah. Otherwise, it's
yeah,
very hard to share when you only have 2% or
yeah,
less.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, most of the time it's 1%, of course, but there have been exceptional cases where we have put increased it slightly, but most of the time it's 1%. And I normally work with another team member. So at least for all the efforts, there's 111.
Oh, interesting. So you'll end up with three people getting a piece.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Oh,
it
interesting.
so I will, but we get more listings, more owners are happy, we get more referrals, even though it's another agent who closes it. Uh, so that's the strategy.
Can I ask what percentage do you end up closing yourself and what percentage do you
I will
generate?
say, like the recent one we are going to close, it's on our own. But I will say 70% is co-agency, 70%.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It doesn't matter because there's more deals.
Right,
When you've got more deals, more people are happier, there's more referrals.
right. I'm hearing that more and more from, it seems like all the very successful agents that when I talk to them about this, they're all doing co-agent now.
Yeah.
Like there's very few agents that are like,
It's a smart thing to do.
Mm.
Smart.
Okay, you heard it here first, guys, or you heard it here like second, third. Smart thing to do. Be smart. Be like be like Ganesh. Okay, very cool. Yeah, I want to also mention anyone listening in, if you have a question you want to ask, please feel free to put in the chat. I will decide whether or not we have the time and it's a good question or not. So yeah, you can let me know. Okay, I have some more questions though for you. You know, if exclusive is so good, obviously it's good from everything you mentioned. It's good for the client, it's good for you as the agent. Why are agents not doing it more? Why was it only 25% of them are doing exclusive? 25% of their listings are exclusive. What do you think?
Okay, I have my own reasons. Others could have been something. I think number one is they're scared of the level of commitment they need to put to provide. I have heard agents who tell me, "Oh yeah, if not, you know what the reason is? Or if I get the exclusive, the owner will be calling me up every night asking me what's happening, what's happening. I don't want to go through that. They want to be,
Ah,
yeah, that level of commitment, they don't want to commit. I'm not saying all the agents, but that is something
hmm,
of them they don't want the stress.
interesting.
Yeah.
But sorry, I want to pause on that. So is it true the clients will call you every night asking
No,
about?
no, 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 it's not. We haven't, there have been once or twice, but most of the time we have this agreement. It's a monthly report. And there
Mhm.
are times we take the initiative to call them because of
Right.
special situation. It's not the other way around. You
Yeah.
don't get harassed. As long as the work is being done, the owner is not going to be calling you. It's only when for 1 month, 2 months, it's all quiet in the front, no, nothing in the being heard by the owner. That's when you're going to start getting calls and him scolding you,
Right.
cursing you. Yep, it'll
So
happen.
so this is like Mythbusters 101, guys. So don't think that if you get exclusive, the client's gonna be calling you nonstop. If you do what Ganesh does, I mean, from what you said, right? If you tell them in advance, I'm gonna give you a report every month, then they tend to like they will just wait. You end up contacting them before they contact you. Very cool.
Yeah,
Very cool. All
yeah.
right. What
Uh,
else? What else? Why do you think they don't want to do this
Number
exclusive?
two, they don't have the confidence. They don't have the confidence to ask.
Mm,
Yeah, that's they don't have the confidence because they themselves don't know whether they can do it. That is one of the other reason.
right, right.
Uh, Another reason is if some of them are afraid of the owners who would say, I don't want to know anything. I'm going to be, you are just one of the agent. They dare not ask because if they insist on that, there will be rejection, that fear of rejection.
Okay.
They don't push it. And then the last one, that last group is by choice. They have made that choice, especially those who are branding themselves in a certain location.
Okay.
They don't want the quality, they want the quantity. They have
Mm,
made that
I
choice.
see.
Yeah.
Right. They just
So,
want to have a big pile of listings in their portal to show
yeah.
that they have a
So,
lot.
yeah.
Okay.
So
But they
that's,
wouldn't have time to actually commit to actually putting that. They wouldn't be able to commit to like 100 listings being so committed. I think that would be
see
very tough.
agents with 100 over listings. It's just that they are hoping someone who sees, wow, that agent got so many listings, and then hope that they will call them.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, it's a good strategy as well. I don't see why not. Yeah. So what do you say to an agent that's like, yeah, I don't want exclusive. It's too much commitment and
too much
I don't
stress.
have the confidence and and if I ask for it, they're going to maybe they'll reject
Yeah,
me and I
yeah.
lose the client. What do you say to these agents that say this?
Uh, I, if someone has that mindset, and if they don't have the confidence, sorry, I won't push it on them also, because
Mm,
if they don't, but of course, I will explain to him the advantages, and if he were to realize it, then okay. Do you know, I had this incident a few years ago in Petaling Jaya where this owner had 4 agents,
okay.
none of it was effective. Their their mindset is more agent better. So they were calling up all the agencies. And then when they called the refill, somehow or another, because they were questioning that person who took the call, asking him on the technical details of the appointment and all that, commission. the call was passed to me. I took the call. Then they said, they told me that you are a specialist in this area. I said, yeah, I tend to work in that area. I live nearby. Then they said, okay, I got a listing. These are all, they gave me, they were very professional, gave me all the details. Then they gave me all the photos. Then they said, okay, call me when there is anyone interested. I said, I don't work that way, sir. And then they were kept quiet. Then I said, why not? I said, I need to inspect the property. And then they were still, there was a pause for a minute or two. I said, I don't, then I threw this. I said, how would you like if I were to sell you a $3 million bungalow without having seen it? And then they said, okay, all right. So this was the first time I think any agent questioned them. Then they gave me an appointment day and time. Guess what? I took two rookies with me and we went and inspected the property. And then I was questioning him about the history of the property, while one of them were taking photo and one was taking notes. And the owner and his wife were very, very impressed. They've never seen an agent do this.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And then when we went into the house, the rookie, they were all professionals in their previous profession. So when they took photograph, they removed the clutter, and then they took the photo, and then they put back the clutter where exactly where it
Oh.
was. And then the other one was taking down notes while I was talking to the. They were stunned, I think, because they've never seen agents conduct themselves. And then when I did the listing presentation, and also after that, the appointment letter, line by line, explaining everything, they were speechless. And then I was wondering, they're going to reject me. And then I was a little bit embarrassed because I got two rookies. I had to impress them. I was praying, please tell me that you're thinking over. And then guess what? I said, okay. And then I said, okay. And then they said, okay, we will sign up. And I had just told them that I'm going to be proposing selling the price below what they were asking by $250,000.
Oh
And
my goodness.
3%. Oh, that was speechless.
Wow.
Sure, if you don't ask, you don't get.
That is an amazing story. So this is the person who's like trying to get like 20 agents on the thing.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you convince him to sign with you exclusive. And not only that, but lower his price by
Yes. And
250K.
pay me
That's no
3%.
joke. And 3%.
And I knew his property was not properly because I went and looked at all the property portals everywhere on the internet, cannot find it. That's why I'm
So, so
wondering.
useless. He's
Because
useless.
they were looking for the cheapest property portal, the free one.
So funny. This poor guy. Well, I mean, you blessed him, man, by like
Yeah.
educating him. And by I love that okay, you heard I like that bringing some professional rookies with you to make you
Yes.
look even
And
more
then
professional.
and these two people did not question me for that whole hour of the presentation. They just kept quiet. And I was thinking, uh-oh, they're going to reject. But they were a very tough lot. Until the last week of my appointment, I brought in 4 offers, very close to
Okay.
his price. But because they were paying me the 3%, and I had convinced them to lower the price by 250,000, they made me work for it.
Wow. So, but you finally sold it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, what a good story. I love this. I hope you guys are feeling inspired. I feel inspired. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so for those who have been trying to get exclusive, and maybe they have not been getting there, like I guess I want to ask, where do you think agents go wrong in trying to get exclusive? What is like the ones that actually they are asking, but then they keep getting rejected? What do you think is going wrong for them?
Number one, uh, relationship. This is something they don't build that relationship. I think I'm a little bit better. But for me, when it comes to meeting up, I always insist on meeting up with the owner because it's very important that I know who I'm going to be working with. And I also want the owner to understand who I am. Very important. And that's the thing, they don't build the relationship to
Mm,
gain the trust of these people and understanding their needs and fears. That's
mm.
why there are times when I've gone for a listing presentation and some of the people accompanying me wonder what I talk, because we will be talking everything under the sun,
Oh,
everything under the sun, both of us trying to feel each other, no? So
okay.
that's the most important thing. I think they did not build the relationship.
Can I ask when you talk let's just go a little bit into that. Building a relationship means like when does that start? Like I'm assuming you start with a phone call. Are you already like is it only at the listing presentation that you're really trying to make that connection or how do you go about that?
Even that, I remember the example I told you about when the first phone call came and they were trying to talk to me and tell me what to do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then I was respectful. I didn't say, no, that's not the way I do it. I said, sir, this is how it's our company's SOP to actually inspect the property because
Mm.
how do we even though we are specialists, I've got all the tools, I know all the data or what the prices are, I still need to see the property. I made how do I put it? I was professional when I was with the first phone call. It's not rude, but I think I was firm enough to make them understand that I needed to follow this
Right,
SOP. Yeah.
right.
So, and then when we meet, actually, while I'm asking questions, I'm also building up the relationship.
Mm.
And yeah, and of course, lightening up the moment and then suddenly looking at what around the house, see what their interests are. And there
Ah,
are times we can talk for 2, 3 hours
oh,
with the husband and wife, and that's calling building relationship from beginning
wow.
itself. That's very important.
Wow, okay. So that's a key piece is getting that connection that on whatever interest they have or whatever to build that trust. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
Number
what
two
else? Yeah.
is the value proposition. From
Okay.
day one, they must understand you're different from the others. You must show that to them. Of course, the refill branding is very, very important because most of them have heard of the name. So,
Mm,
but it opens the door for you, but it doesn't mean it's going to get in and stay there. That's when you have to differentiate yourself, the value proposition. Yeah. And then
wow.
a third reason for 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 not being successful is the limited experience. There are rookie agents face this limited experience or limited local market knowledge.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
that's and then also this is one important thing: lacking communication or negotiation skills. What I mean is there are times uh, the agent is not able to communicate effectively the current market conditions,
Mm,
which is not aligned to the owner's expectation. The owner said, I want this price, but the owner is, the agent is trying to say, no, the price has dropped, but he doesn't show the data he has collected
okay.
effectively. That's very important. So much so, a lot of times when we show past transactions, we have a map of that location showing all those transactions and the date of those transactions compared to the house he is living in. So, and sometimes we go back and take photos, even 2, 3 years, because you can Google Maps, you can do that to
Mm,
us.
okay. Yeah.
So they will understand, hey, that's a similar property to mine. And I'm asking something higher. Yeah. So,
Wow.
yeah. So
Okay.
that communication is very, very important. And then last but not least, why they fail, it's because of the not preparing the listing presentation properly. That's another major,
right.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm hearing you. Okay, the number one is the relationship is not there. They don't have the trust. Number two is the agent is not expressing their value proposition,
Yeah.
not showing this is what I'm gonna do for you. Or the agent is not able to answer the questions well to show that they are an expert in that area or an expert on the pricing, that they
Yeah.
actually can convince the owner that they know what the pricing is, that convince the owner that this is the right pricing based on data. And then, yeah. So it sounds like this piece about pricing is being able to set the right price with the owner is very connected to the ability to get exclusive.
Yeah.
Is that right? Is there like if you cannot convince them on your pricing, you're gonna have difficulty to get them on exclusive. Is that right?
Yeah, very true. And also, I have to say this, there are some owners whose personalities are very, very strong. They overwhelm you, no? Even when you have all the data to show that some agents are not able to handle this kind of people.
Right.
Yeah, it's like they will brush off everything and say, my property is unique. You look at the finishing, can you understand that? I spend millions, and you know the kind of renovation he has done. It's not what do you call it? It's very personal. It's not
Right.
thing which is going to be accepted, but they don't know how to tell that to him, to his face.
Do you ever have that situation where you cannot convince them to go with your price? They insist on a higher price. And you know it's overpriced. Do you ever take those? Do you ever take overpriced property?
Good question. I think this is faced by most agents.
Yeah.
One, uh, I look at the finishing and the unique features of the property, and then also I will look at how much more. And then the most important thing is I look at the person. Is he a rational person? Is he an emotional person? Very
Oh,
important, because
interesting.
we have done this where initially they are very strong personality, but then when they see the update, they
Mhm.
see how the market is still not responding, even though we are putting in all the efforts and the money. So he will have to make a decision whether we can work with him. Because if he is like, look, if anybody is not, if no one wants to match my price, I'm asking, don't call me. You know, that kind of talk, choice
Mm,
of
mm,
word and
mm.
tone, when we see that, But there are some people who want to project like, I'm not in a hurry. If I don't get my price, I will rent it out. Those kind of choice of word.
Right.
How they say. Uh, but mostly, when we show the listing presentation and how we will keep them updated, most of them, I would say 80% of them will adapt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So you're just trying to make sure you will maybe take an overpriced property if you know that the client is a rational person, that they will
Yes.
lower the price later when they see the way the
Yeah.
market reacts. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Very cool. Nice.
Yeah.
So, I've been obviously talking about this whole time about how you always take exclusive as much as possible, and everyone should do this. But I want to ask now, is there ever a time when we should not go for exclusive but just go for the general ATS? What's your opinion on this?
Yeah, when an owner is not willing to look at the data and they say, no, 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 if I don't get by my price, I'm not going to sell this, those kind of choice of words. Or his renovation is so personal, polite word to say.
Weird.
Then I will. In fact, I mostly would not, but there are team members who want to take it on because they want to have choices
Yeah.
for their portfolio. I will agree to it, but then I won't put in that level of commitment. Yeah,
Okay. There we
yeah,
go. That's right. That's what you said, right? Yeah.
But
I
I
mean,
want to share with you one on time where
okay.
I had, I don't know whether I shared it with you the last time, where I took an non-exclusive because I had been trying to convince him for 2 hours, buying him good lunch and all that. And yet he was not convinced and he kept repeating, I need to consult my lawyer. I need to consult my lawyer. But I respected him because he was a very professional person, very decent person, but he had one way of thinking. So I said, okay, you come back to me. And then he come back to me and said, no, I'm not going to give you the exclusive. I'm only paying you 2%. And what's that? But I will only appoint one other agent, you and the other agent. This
Oh,
was a
okay.
shop lot in Hamantun. Most of the time it's going for uh, 5 million, but he wanted 4.8. And when she told me that price and I knew that location, I know there will be people. I know how the other agent would have done. What he would have done is he would have marked up his price for negotiation, whereas I just put my price at 4.8. And guess what? Within a week, I got a lot of inquiries, including one guy. I bet with you he had also seen it through the other person, but because he asked for a higher price, he came to me. And when he countered back with slightly lower, instead of, if I had been exclusive, I would have gone and asked for higher, but I didn't want to take a chance.
Mm.
He countered it with, the asking price was 4.8. I countered with 4.73. I went straight to the owner and told him, this is a firm price. That's it. This time I was working for the buyer, no? Because
Yeah, I can see that.
I cannot then I counter it with a higher price. And I closed it.
Huh.
That's
Amazing.
what, yeah, because I
Interesting
know
story.
how the other agents will work. They will mark it up. I didn't mark it up. I just put it exactly the price the owner wanted.
I love,
So
yeah, go ahead.
so that was an area which I'm very familiar with. I know the pricing. The price he gave me was very attractive. He said, no, no 3%, but 2%, you and another agent. I know I did the right strategy by going at that price.
Right.
It worked.
It worked, even though you didn't get the
At the
exclusive.
exclusive and the 3%. Yeah.
Interesting.
Work
I
smart.
I
Don't.
love how it's actually so ironic or hilarious that I mean you started off with a story about how when you will tell the owners that if you get many agents right, the agents are gonna be kind of like working for the buyers, they're gonna end up negotiating against you. And then you also know how to play this game with the price. You literally put a different price than the other
I
agents.
know what the most agents would have marked it up for negotiations. I didn't.
You
When the
know how
buyer
to
came
play
and
the
asked me
game.
what's the best price, I said, as long as it's close to the asking price, I will get it for you.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you did it. So well done.
Yeah, yeah.
Gosh, that's a good story. Yeah. So, yeah, any other reason why you wouldn't want to take exclusive? Like, sorry, when you would take, I mean, sounds like you would not do it, but maybe you mentioned that some of
Yeah,
your teammates will
team
do this.
members, yeah, it's okay. They are willing to put in the effort, but they have a strategy because they've got other listings like exclusive and all that. Unfortunately, some agents, when they see a overpriced thing, they use that as a comparison to push for their own property. I know this is their strategy.
Right, right,
The owner will come back to me and say, I've got so many people looking at my property. But he doesn't realize the agents are using it for comparison because they want to sell their own reasonably priced property.
right. There you go. Okay, these are all the things to educate your clients. Okay, I love this comment in the chat. Somebody is saying they're very honored to be sitting next to you in office learning daily. But you know what? Guys, everyone who's listening on this call out, this is legit. You can literally come to the office at the Reapfield office and sit in the area where Ganesh is sitting, and you can overhear all his wisdom and all of his phone calls. It's a legit idea, actually. I like this. Are you taking, do you have, you can like rent out the space near you.
Yeah, maybe I should do that.
Okay, maybe the office management might not agree, but hey, anyway, just
But
messing.
it's a fun place to sit in. Everybody,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
it
very
is
important.
there's good energy everywhere. Okay, someone else is saying they also learned from you the same way. Wow, fantastic. Okay,
Yeah.
you now you know everyone. You wanna become a top agent, you come and sit next to Ganesh. Okay.
Make my coffee also. If
Yeah,
he's
yeah, yeah. You- One of his carry his bag for him, okay?
no. Just make my coffee enough.
So good. Okay. I'm gonna in a second I'm gonna go to announcements, but before that, anyone, yeah, no one asked any question. I'm very surprised. Maybe it's because we did such a good job. You see how well he prepared for this. I gave him the questions. He really prepared everything so detailed. Have you ever heard Mr. Ganesh so articulate and straightforward and organized in his thoughts? I mean, I'm quite impressed today, I'll be honest. It was a really, this is probably one of our best sessions. This is like a,
Thank you, thank you. And you have been very good facilitating this. Very,
yeah,
very.
this is good stuff. You can take all the notes and you already, this is like a full training on how to get exclusive at 3% and all that. Fantastic. Okay, on that note, let's go to announcements, and everyone, you should go and write some ahas and some thank you to Mr. Ganesh in the chat, please. Okay. All right, waiting for these announcements to pop up in 1, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Click on the right screen. Yay! Here we go. Okay, so our MREA playbook, for those who don't know, this is the MREA, the red book. That book distilled down into action, just action, like just page after page after page of how do you do this? How do you run an open house? How do you make a kick-ass listing presentation? It's literally in there, all detail. How do you set up your database? Like all 1 or 2 pages, step by step. So we are selling it everywhere, but we are selling it for 89 ringgit to anyone in KW Malaysia. So please click on the link in the chat and order the book. We still have some copies left before they run out again, because this book has actually gone out of print because not out of print, but out of stock, and then we had to get more copies. So yeah, get it now before it's out. Okay, next one. Right, next week we have our CPD class on a master class on productivity coaching for peak performance. It'll be myself and Nicholas and Sumin that are going to be training. If you guys need to get CPD points, please come. It's only 318 ringgit for KW Malaysia agents. Outside, it's more expensive. So please come. There's still some space in our class. All right. Epic. So if you are making your listing presentations and you need to get that data to convince your clients of the pricing of that area, you need to have data. Where are you going to find the data? You're going to find it at Epic. Okay, this is just one suggestion. You don't have to do this, but we have a agreement with Epic, with the EdgeProp for their Epics for only 49 ringgit a month. So if you want to join up, you can click on the link in the yeah, you can sign up. Okay, and if you want to know more first, there's a full preview recording of one of the trainings where you can really see what does Epic have to offer, so you can compare it with the other services out there and decide before you sign up. Okay, that's all for now. Let's come back to our dear Mr. Ganesh. And do you have any final words of wisdom for our dear listeners?
Okay, it's simple. Do not live in fear of rejection when you're giving advice to your clients, especially when you realize it's in their best interest. A lot of agents, I think, hesitate because of the fear of rejection or not they not being appointed. But to me, if I am not honest, I'm going to be facing challenges, even if I'm appointed, if they want to only hear what they want to hear.
Right,
Very
right.
important. That's my, do not live in fear.
Do not live in fear of rejection. This is a good life quote. My goodness. Okay, I know we just had a beautiful, cool ending, but there's a little question from Facebook Live. We'll just ask, do you use an exclusive presentation folder? I'm assuming this means like a physical folder. I'm assuming that you give out to your.
Normally, we will have it, what do you call digitally, what do you call PowerPoint presentation where we
Okay.
explain to them. I think I've shared it with you.
And Yeah, we have it on the drive, or
Yeah.
we have you sharing about it in a video
Yeah.
on the drive.
Yeah.
Um,
It constantly changes, a lot of changes.
right, right. You said it's for, you will change it each time you give to a different client, right?
Different client and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you leave them with anything physical? No, do you give them anything, you send them
No, I rarely we put it physical. It'll be digital. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you. Well, thank you so much for your sharing, and thank you for your reminder not to live in fear of rejection. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as you believe in it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. You've inspired all of us. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you for your time to prepare and write all your notes so clearly. I think we are all blessed fully by your wisdom.
Welcome.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Was my pleasure. Thank
Awesome. So
All right.
thank you to everyone who's listening. So goodbye. So thank you to everyone on Facebook and on YouTube and on YouTube. Yeah. Yeah, well, some people will watch from YouTube, but thank you on Zoom. And we will see you next time on Winning Mondays. Okay,
See
bye
you.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye. See ya.